Hi there, everybody, and welcome to the Toon review, where today Eddie Howe has been speaking to the media ahead of the huge game against Leeds United on Saturday at 3 o'clock kickoff at St James's Park. Now, of course, Leeds United is probably our closest rivals these days with regards to derby matches with an hour and a bit down the road. So it is a huge game. But I have a lot of time for Leeds United and the fans, especially after what they've been through in the doldrums for years and years and years, and then all of a sudden back in the Premier League, which is great to see. But we need to think of ourselves on Saturday, of course, and the fantastic run that Newcastle United are on. And they want to continue that by getting a very, very good result against Leeds United on Saturday. Now, I'm hoping for a very good game, plenty goals, plenty fast-paced action, but mainly the goals going in for Newcastle United, of course. Now, Eddie Howe started off the press conference by saying we're without JonJo and Emil Kraft, and there's a couple of other niggles within the squad from Leicester, but hopefully we get the majority of the players training today. So again, he's not saying who's got the niggles or what the niggles are, because we know how Eddie Howe conducts these press conferences. He doesn't want to give absolutely anything away to Jesse Marsch, because obviously, depending on the personnel that are on the pitch, is how Jesse Marsch thinks about tactics for Leeds United. But he's not giving anything away, Eddie Howe. He will wait until the last moment, until that team sheet comes out at 2 p.m. on Saturday. And then, of course, it's too late for Jesse Marsch to do anything about it, quite frankly. But, of course, we know the injury to JonJo. It's such a shame as well. He went on to say about Shelvey, he's disappointed. He's a passionate guy and he lives for football and that feeling of playing. That's a big driver in his life, and not being able to do that is a big thing taken away from him. We're supporting him, and he's focusing on his rehab. Now, it's interesting what Eddie Howe says there, because I think this injury has without a doubt mentally impacted JonJo, because the injury got against Benfica in the friendly at the start of the season, put him out for months, and then he's worked so hard to get back into action, looking fit, looking lean, looking healthy again, and then he's had this setback, which is going to be about 6 to 8 weeks injured. It's got to be a real downer for JonJo because of the amount of effort he's put in to get back in and around the first team again. And we know the contract situation. He's got to start 2 more games and then he gets an additional year on his contract. Now, whether that happens or not, I don't know, because obviously Newcastle United are predictably going to be very busy in the transfer window with strengthening the squad up again for the remainder of the season. So that probably puts JonJo a little bit further down the pecking order again, depending on the players that we bring in. Of course, Maddison is highly linked, etc. Certainly a lot of midfielders and are being talked about. So it's a real shame for JonJo, and all we can do is wish him the very best and hope he comes back fighting fit again. But in that sort of mental stability that he might be in at the minute, that's what Eddie Howe probably means about supporting him and making sure that his head stays right and he's focused on his rehabilitation. Now, on Callum Wilson, not much at all. He said Callum's improved. He trained with us yesterday, so he's in a better place. Now, again, I don't blame Eddie Howe for being very coy, because if you look at the striking situation, if Callum Wilson doesn't play, Chris Wood's the man to go. Now, Wilson plays a very, very different game, as we well know, to Chris Wood. Callum Wilson runs the channels. He bosses the centre-backs. He's very physical. Chris Wood's not that kind of player. So he's not going to tell Jesse Marsch again whether Callum Wilson's going to start. Callum Wilson could be on the bench and play the last 20 minutes. He could start the game and play the first 70. Obviously, we know that Eddie Howe has been very much looking after Callum's fitness throughout the season. So, again, it's going to be a question of that. Does he risk him? I mean, it's not a muscle injury. It's nothing to do with that. It's an illness, which we all know that when we come back from an illness, we're fatigued. So it depends how his fitness is with regards to his physical nature and whether he's ready to go, or whether he's fatigued. He's not, strong enough to start the game. But I think he will. I said this last night in the preview show. I think he'll start the game, and I don't think he'll finish it by all stretch of the imagination. I think he'll play 70-odd minutes, hopefully. But again, he's not telling Jesse Marsch any information, because obviously he'd prepared differently for whichever striker was going to play. And we know that Eddie Howe is very good at that. Now, on the sad passing, of course, of the legend that is Pelé, he says, in my area, you grew up knowing of Pelé and thinking of him as the best player the world has ever seen. It's very sad. Whenever an icon passes away, it's a very sad moment for football. He's certainly well remembered around the world. Now, we did say this on the preview show last night as well, that we think that black armbands will be worn and hopefully a minute's applause. Now, the reason I say that is because a minute's applause is more of a celebration of Pelé's life and what he brought to this fantastic game that we call football. You know, he was an ambassador for it both on and off the pitch and worked very hard to bring football around the world. And this guy, you know, legend status is used, as we know, far too much in this game today, and greatness. This man was. He was everything that people say he was. He was a fantastic footballer. I unfortunately didn't get to see him live. I've seen lots of videos of him. I've seen him get kicked from pillar to post from videos of the 66 World Cup and then his fantastic display in the 70 World Cup. He's just incredible footballer. And as I say, a genuine ambassador for the game off the pitch as well, which is why I think that this man should be celebrated with a minute's applause. And it's not very often that, a lot of footballers, who've done very well pass away. But it's very, very rare that you get a proper icon of football. And this is what Pelé was, which is why I think he deserves a minute's applause. But we'll wait and see what Newcastle United decide to do on that. I'm pretty sure that if they announced a minute's silence, I'm sure that the Newcastle fans would start applauding, because you have to celebrate the life of Pelé. Yes, it's a sad, sad state of affairs when somebody passes away, especially a legend like him. But I think his life should be celebrated. Now, on the final game of 2022 against Leeds, he says, from a physical perspective, it will be two teams that give their all. I've watched a lot of Leeds in preparation for this game, and I've been impressed by them. We anticipate a very fast-paced game between two good teams. I think Eddie knows how Leeds United play. They've always had this attitude, even under Bielsa, to play good attacking football no matter what the score is. Leeds United kind of reminded me of back in the Keegan days when it was like, you score 4, we'll score 5 type of thing. That's the kind of impression that I've had about Leeds United over the past couple of seasons in the Premier League. So great to watch and very exciting for the fans, of course. But they're up against a different monster in Newcastle tomorrow. For me, we just play our normal game, which is a very attacking game, a very fluid game, great passing, one-touch football, and I think we will get the better of Leeds United. Now, some people have said, we'll hammer them. Some people have said it'll be a close game. The 3 points, I think, is more important than anything else. And also, looking forward to the next few games. Arsenal away is going to be an incredible game. Then we've got the cup games. So it's a very busy schedule for us, but you'd rather have that than not be in the cups or fighting relegation. And I'm sure the Newcastle United manager and the players feel like that. They want to be out there playing football matches, not on the training pitch, because we've been knocked out of tournaments. It's just not where we want to be. And it's not what we're used to now, because previous seasons gone by, we've never had these cup runs and opportunities to do well in the league. So it's very exciting. And finally, on Chris Wood, he says the last few games have probably been his best for us. The Vallecano game, I thought he was outstanding. Tactically and physically very good, and he carried that onto Leicester. He's a very dependable character and player. I think he's been excellent. So obviously, he's never going to come out and criticise Chris Wood for anything, is he? I mean, Chris Wood is what Chris Wood is. But I do think he's been better the last couple of games. I have to admit, he's done very well. The only disappointing factor is that I think he should have had a few more goals from open play. He missed that chance against Bournemouth, and he missed a very similar one against Leicester last week, where, for me, he had time to control the ball and pick his spot. But instead he tries first-time shots and the balloon over the bar. His penalty taken is second to none. I've said it many, many times that he reminds me of Alan Shearer, the way he steps up and absolutely blasts it home. He doesn't even think about it. No stupid run-ups or dinks or anything like that. He just goes up and strokes the ball in the back of the net, exactly how it's supposed to be taken, like the legend Mr. Shearer used to do for us. And I think that's gives him confidence. His link-up play has certainly been better. He's holding it in midfield now and playing it out to the wingers or playing it into the midfield, which I really like. So if there's one thing that Chris Wood needs to improve now about his game, is getting those goals from open play rather than just from the penalty spot. But yes, he has been better. But there you go again. Eddie's bigging his other striker up now. So Jesse March will be thinking, right, who the hell is he going to play? Is it Chris Wood that's going to start the game, or is it Callum Wilson? We don't know. So if we don't know, the Leeds United manager's not going to know, and he won't know until 2 o'clock tomorrow until the team sheet's out. And by then, it's going to be very difficult because he's also picked his team. And has he picked a team that's going to defend for Callum Wilson or Chris Wood? Because of very, very different players and very, very different tactics would have to be thrown out depending on who starts the game. So again, brilliant from Eddie Howe, not giving anything away, just giving the information that he feels he needs to give out to answer the questions the best way he can without giving anything away, of course. And that is just Eddie's style. It really is. It's brilliant. So there you go, guys. That is the press conference reaction. Let me know in the comments below what you think. Do you think Callum's going to start the game tomorrow, or do you think it'll be Chris Wood starting? Who knows? And all the other stuff he said, JonJo Shelvey, etc. Really, really bad luck on him, isn't it? It really is. But thank you very much for watching, guys. Please do hit that like button before you leave the video. It's very, very important to us because it does help us with the YouTube algorithm and the search results and things like that. So please do hit that like button. And if you're new to the channel and like what you see, lots of Newcastle United content on here. It's a fantastic community. Come and hit that subscribe button. We're on the way to 16,000 subscribers very, very quickly. So please do come and join us. And also hit that notification bell, which will tell you when we upload, go live, or we schedule a show. And you can join the Toon Review and become a member if you just hit the join button just below. So thank you very much in advance for that. Now, if you're watching this on Friday afternoon, don't forget tonight at 8 o'clock, we've got TTR Friday, New Year special, this one, where we'll be looking back on the previous year, both for Newcastle United and the channel. Put in the comments what your funny parts were, what you can remember from the shows that we've done over the year, what really, really got you laughing, what was your best bits kind of thing. Hopefully we'll have some video clips to play as well. And we'll be joined by, obviously, Alex, Billy, and the usual two other muckers for TTR Friday. Jimmy and Roy will be joining us tonight. So really looking forward to that at 8 o'clock. So don't miss that. And of course, the watch along tomorrow with Billy from 2:30 p.m. in the afternoon. Give him your support. Fantastic commentary from Billy on all Newcastle United home games. But thank you very much for watching. Have a great Friday, guys. And we'll see you tonight for TTR Friday. Take care.